Hi, welcome back. My name is Sheldon McLeod. This is Thinking Out Loud. It's presented to you here exclusively on the Saltwire Network. And I know where I'm going to be on Monday. I'll be at work because not every business is going to make it a provincial holiday for their employees. As we heard, Nova Scotia, the province, has said it will be a holiday. It's a one-off. It's not in perpetuity. It's not a statutory holiday, and it's effectively going to affect those provincial government offices, public schools, childcare, and the like. And it's up to the individual business owners from there. And that puts me in, the mind of contacting Pat Sullivan. Patrick Sullivan is the president and CEO of the Halifax Chamber of Commerce. Good day to you, President. How are you?
I'm good, Sheldon. How are you?
Very well, very well. And what has the reaction been from your membership so far to this announcement by the provincial government?
Well, I think there's a bit of confusion, to be honest. I do think the government was quite clear that it is an optional holiday. And of course, we should respect and mourn the Queen. But this is the third holiday in the month of September, or the expected third holiday in the month of September. And for some businesses, that will be costly.
And when you say that, obviously, if you have kids, if you have children and there's no school and there's no daycare, that puts you in a precarious position. Does the chamber have any thoughts on that? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, it does. The expectation is that many of those people will have to stay home and provide childcare. And we've seen this over the last couple of years, with schools closing and classes closing and all of these sorts of things. But to some extent, I think we had thought this was a little bit in the rearview mirror. So it is a surprise to need childcare on a Monday when it's announced on the previous Tuesday for many parents. And that will mean that they'll likely have to stay home and obviously impact their employment.
Is 6 days enough time to pivot and make this kind of a plan, pull this together from your experience for business owners?
Well, I think it is, because I don't actually believe that a lot of businesses will be closing. This is an optional day, if I can put it that way. I think we should mourn the Queen and we should show respect for the Queen. But government offices will be closed, schools will be closed. They seem able to make that pivot pretty quickly. I don't know that there will be a lot of businesses closing. I spoke to a business person last night who was concerned because to close for him, and he's a small business, it would cost him $5,000 in salaries for the day with no revenue coming in. So he's not closing. But he will obviously pay respect to the Queen in his own way.
And I've heard other concerns raised that if you're a small mom and pop shop and you decide, I will close, that may mean, do you pay your employees? I don't know if the legislation even accommodates for that, or does it?
Well, if you close, then my expectation is that you would need to provide compensation for your employees, because the notice is too short to tell people in many cases that they should take the day off and not pay them. So I think the expectation would be that employees would be paid without, a number of weeks' notice. So that's what I would think anyway.
Right. Do you feel that, I know that Prince Edward Island has said it is a statutory holiday. Would that make it more or less complicated for Nova Scotia?
Well, I think it would make it more complicated and more costly, frankly, for businesses. It would be an expensive change, obviously, to have businesses ordered, if you will, to shut down, and as a holiday, they will have to pay their employees.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And obviously, the federal government said it's not even a real bank holiday as we know it, because it's some federal offices, but federally regulated businesses like airlines and other banking institutions can still choose. So, do you think that for the most part, it's going to seem like a regular day of business across this country?
Well, I believe it will seem like a regular day. Obviously, there are services and there are memorials. The Queen, as I understand it, the service is at 10:45 UK time, which is 6:45 Halifax time. People could certainly watch the service, I think, and then still have the opportunity to get to work.
President and CEO of the Halifax Chamber of Commerce. Just before you go back in, I just wanted to note that you're at this luncheon that's about to get underway. Luncheon Nova Scotia's Net Zero Future. The keynote speaker is the Minister of Natural Resources for Canada, the Honourable Jonathan Wilkinson. For those members and those who will be there to attend today, what are you expecting to hear?
Well, I think we're expecting to hear more about Canada's net zero future. We were actually a little surprised by the interest. We have over 200 people that expect to be here for lunch. So we're quite interested to hear what the minister has to say today.
And that's just about to get underway. I thank you so much for carving out a few moments to speak with us today about this. Patrick Sullivan, President and CEO of the Halifax Chamber of Commerce. All the best to you.
That's great. Thanks, Sheldon.
In the United Kingdom, it is 10 days of official mourning that have been declared, and there have been thousands of people lining up as the Queen's casket makes its way from Balmoral Castle in Scotland to London. As mentioned, Queen Elizabeth II at Westminster Hall to lie in state for the next 4 days. Now, because of time zones, the services will take place here in Nova Scotia starting at 6:45 in the morning. Now, there is a provincial holiday designated for Monday. Whether or not you'll have the day off will depend on your employer. The province has said businesses will have the choice as to whether or not they do so. And they had prior to that announced that there will be a commemorative service, a multi-faith memorial service for Her late Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. And that will be on Monday afternoon, September 19th at 2:00 in the afternoon. And the service will see Lieutenant Governor Arthur J. LeBlanc delivering a eulogy, Premier Tim Houston giving his tribute to the late Queen. And they do say this service is open to the public and that it will be held at Cathedral Church of All Saints, 1330 Cathedral Lane, Halifax, with all guests expected to or asked to be in their seats by 1:30 that afternoon. For the latest on this and the coverage, stay tuned to saltwire.com.